Hi, I'm Miss ComPlexiTieS, aka Austin, aka Betty, aka Brittany, aka B, aka Mommy, aka Wifey Face. I think that's all of them. So I'm the host of ComPlexiTieS Podcast, and if you've listened to my first episode, then you know why I have so many names. And if you haven't, then I highly suggest you listen to it so that you don't think that I'm completely insane. It's not completely insane. It's about to rain. So I'm the host of ComPlexiTieS Podcast, and what we do, me and my partner, all things, every week we sit around and we talk about our lives. We talk about him as like a really normal guy. He's had a really normal life, and I have had kind of the opposite situation. I have complex PTSD, which is regular PTSD, but instead of, like a traumatic incident happening, complex PTSD starts in early childhood, and you have multiple traumatic experiences throughout adolescence to condition your brain to function differently. So I mostly live in a state of hypervigilance and fight or flight all the time. And so that makes, normal marriage, normal life difficult. And me and my husband talk about our experiences doing that. We talk about the last 5 to 6 years of what it's been like for me and him to go through all of the different therapies that I've done since I've been diagnosed. I was diagnosed like 5 or 6 years ago. So we just delve into that. And I also have a Patreon where I put up more content that's a little more personal. And now I'm making YouTube videos. And I'm not doing this because I love listening to myself talk. In fact, I actually don't like the way I sound on video or microphone. I'm doing this because I've got to a point where I have reconditioned my brain and I've healed a lot of my shit. And I want to share that with people because I was a very unhappy person, and now my life is substantially better. I can handle my triggers and everything is just much better. So I want to share that with people. I've had a couple of people on the podcast say, hey, I listened to this episode and it changed my life. Or, this specific thing that you and Pat said really changed my perspective, and I was able to, heal something. And that's all that I can ask for. That's why I make content. That's why I share my story. I have this vision, this hope for a future where children don't have to grow up the way that I did. They don't get abused, and they don't experience trauma, and their minds just grow to be normal human minds, and they're not conditioned and broken down to function differently, and they can just grow up, and instead of what I've had to do, which is go to a lot of therapy and reprogram my brain and spend the first 30 years of my life trying to figure my shit out, they can just grow up and be happy and healthy and functioning people and look for their passions and do really great things for the world around them. And that's what I want for my kids, and that's what I want people to get from my story. So this episode, this is like a first YouTube content video that I'm going to do, and I'm doing it here at the beautiful Omega Institute. Yeah, you can really just see all that. This is my favorite little spot at the Omega Institute in Rhinebeck, New York. I'm here to do a type of therapy that I've never done before. And this place is a nonprofit retreat center. They do workshops, and they do different types of healing therapies, different types of wellness sessions. I'm not being paid to advertise for these people. I'm simply telling you because it's a wonderful place, and I like it here, and maybe there's something here for you. I don't know. But I'm here to meet with a shamanic practitioner to have a shamanic healing session. And that's something that I've never done. I've been in a lot of therapy. Started therapy when I was 4, and I've done all kinds of different things, esoteric and not esoteric in nature. I've learned a lot, and I've changed a lot, and I've healed a lot of my shit, which is good. And that's what I talk about in my content. But today is different. Today I'm going to tackle something that has never, that I've never been able to conquer before, something that I've never been able to change about myself, and that's disordered eating. I got my diagnosis of complex PTSD when I went and I checked myself into inpatient at an eating disorder clinic like 5.5, 6 years ago. And I was naive and hopeful, and I was like, yay, I'm going to go through this, I'm going to gain my weight, get in a healthy weight range, and I'm going to come out on the other side, and I'm going to enjoy food, and I'm going to enjoy eating, and I'm going to be like a normal fucking person. And that did not happen. Not the first 8 weeks, or 2 years later for 10 weeks when I went back. My disordered eating is so rooted in my past and my childhood and who I am that through different types of therapy, meditation, regression, I've never been able to understand why I am at war with food or why I hate food, but I am. And I'm hoping that this new practice healing thing that I'm trying will give me some insight into that. But I'm trying not to get too excited because, the letdown sucks. But I'm here. Oh, there's a blue jay. It's so cute. I'm here, and I'm going to go full force into this therapy like I've done with all the others, and we'll see what happens. So if you want to know what happens, and maybe want to know more about shamanic healing, this week's podcast on ComPlexiTieS Podcast goes up Friday, and it will be about that subject. I'll talk about what happened, what I got from it, and what it is. And if you're super wicked interested, I will do a post-session video. It's kind of like a video diary, video journal that I do, because talking out loud to myself on camera really helps me work through my shit. And I post that on the Patreon. So if you want to really get into the nitty-gritty of what I do, there are video journals, video diaries of me in the midst of a trigger, in the midst of a flashback, and what I do to get through those, and then also the wrap-up of what's going to happen in this healing session. So, yeah, thanks for joining me, and thanks for listening to me talk.